creepy night.
Welcome, restless soul. Tonight, I'll be your storyteller, here to share a dark tale that may keep you awake long after it ends. Before we begin, please like this video and subscribe for more scary stories. Tell me in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is, and if there's a story you'd like to hear next, I'd love to know. I never believed the road could hold grudges, but after that night on the Oklahoma Turnpike in the fall of 2024, I'm not so sure. The sight of that abandoned semi, headlights blazing, engine growling, yet empty as a grave, still twists my gut. I'm Hank Grayson, a 35-year trucker who's hauled steel from Tulsa to Texas and back, dodging storms and breakdowns without blinking. But that rig, sitting alone on the shoulder of I-44, changed me. Its cab was cold, the air reeking of diesel and something sour, and when I touched the wheel, I swear it whispered my name. This is my confession, because if I don't spit it out, that semi's shadow will run me off the road for good. It was a muggy October night, hauling pipe from Oklahoma City to Joplin on the Turner Turnpike. I-44 is a beast, flat, endless, flanked by scrub and the ghosts of old Route 66 towns, with rest stops that feel like they're waiting for something. Around 3 a.m., near mile marker 174 by Stroud, my CB crackled with static. No voices, just a low hum like a machine breathing. The fog was thick, rolling off the Cimarron River, my headlights barely cutting through. That's when I saw it. A lone semi parked on the shoulder, an old Freightliner, maybe from the 90s, headlights piercing the mist like eyes. Its engine rumbled, loud and steady, but no driver, no movement. I slowed, figuring a breakdown, and radioed, "Breaker, Iron Claw here. Anyone in that rig at 174? Silence, then a faint voice. "No handle. He's gone, Hank." "Don't stop my name." "How?" My skin prickled. I pulled over anyway, 100 yards up, instinct screaming to check it out. Truckers help truckers, right? But the air felt wrong, heavy with wet earth and a metallic tang, like blood. But that was only the beginning. I've driven the turnpike forever, know its stories, truckers at the Stroud diner swap tales of phantom hitchhikers, ghostly convoys, and that abandoned semi from the 90s. Word was, it first appeared after a string of crashes. A 1994 pileup near Sapulpa killed 3. Another in 96 took a family, all tied to sightings of a driverless rig. Reddit's r/. Truckers and old X posts mention it. Headlights on, engine running. No one inside, always near fatal wrecks. One driver in 2020 swore he saw it before his trailer jackknifed. I chalked it up to road lore, like Resurrection Mary, or the Black Dog of Appalachia, until I approached that Freightliner. Its cab was dark, windows fogged, but the engine growled like it was alive. I grabbed my flashlight, boots crunching gravel, and knocked on the door. No answer. The handle was ice cold, despite the muggy night. I climbed up, peered inside, empty, keys dangling in the ignition, a half-burned cigarette still smoldering in the ashtray. The CB hissed, "Get out, Hank!" My heart slammed. I jumped down, beam sweeping the fog. Nothing but shadows, yet I felt watched, eyes boring in from the dark. I wish I'd driven off right then. I circled the rig, its tires worn but intact, no flats, no signs of a breakdown. The trailer was unmarked, rusted, like it hadn't moved in decades. The CB in my own rig sparked again. "You shouldn't have stopped." Same voice, low, almost familiar. I radioed other drivers. "Anyone see a parked Freightliner near Stroud?" A couple answered, distant, reporting clear roads. But a grizzled voice, handle lone wolf, cut in. "That's the ghost rig, son. Been haunting I-44 since 94. Tied to a driver who burned in a wreck. Cab caught fire. No body recovered." I'd read about it. A Tulsa World Peace from 1994. Turnpike tragedy. Driver lost in blaze. The driver, unnamed, was hauling fuel when his semi ignited after a collision. Truckers since reported the rig, always empty, often before crashes like the 2025 one near Bristow, where a semi killed a man. I climbed back in my cab, hands shaking, and floored it. But in the mirrors, the Freightliner's headlights followed, impossibly keeping pace. The sound grew closer, and then I realized I wasn't alone. The pursuit intensified past Sapulpa, the fog swallowing the road, my rig's engine straining like it was fighting something. The CB wailed now, voices overlapping, men, women, even kids all pleading, "Don't stop, Hank." My name again, chilling me to the bone. The dashboard flickered, GPS looping mile 174, and the radio tuned to static-filled oldies, Merle Haggard, mournful and out of place. The Freightliner's lights grew brighter in my mirrors, closing in, though I was pushing 80. I glimpsed its cab, empty steering wheel turning itself. Panic surged. I'd seen X-posts about this. A driver in 2022 saw the rig before a tire blew. Another in 2019 felt hands on his wheel. Oklahoma's turnpike is cursed. Real wrecks from the 90s, like the 96 crash near Kellyville, a family van crushed by a semi. Kids' screams reported by survivors. Was this rig tied to them? The air grew colder, frost spiderwebbing the glass, and a scent filled the cab, burnt rubber and charred flesh, like a fire long extinguished. But the worst was yet to come. Isolation clawed at me as I neared Bristow. No other vehicles, just the ghost rig trailing. Its headlights pulsed, hypnotic, and the CB screamed, "You did this, Hank." My voice now distorted, accusing. Guilt stabbed deep, a foggy night in 2002, a swerve on I-44, a thud I blamed on a pothole. No report filed, just a dented grill. Had I hit someone? The Freightliner pulled alongside, its cab still empty, but a shadow moved inside, humanoid, flickering like a bad film. Lightning cracked, illuminating a roadside cross. 1994, the driver's crash site, per a News 9 report. I shouted into the mic, "What do you want?" The answer, "You." I swerved again, nearly clipping a guardrail, and the rig vanished, but its engine's growl echoed in my skull. At a rest stop, I checked my rig, fresh scratches on the bumper, like claw marks, no paint transfer. Forums mentioned this. A driver in 2023 found similar marks after seeing the rig, tied to a haunting near Chandler. I turned, but it was nowhere. Or was it? I stumbled into a diner in Bristow, the Route 66 Cafe, neon flickering like a dying pulse. The waitress, an old woman named Faye, saw my face and poured coffee. "Ghost rig, ain't it? Seen it since the 90s. Driver burned, never found peace. Warns some, chases others. I spilled it all. The empty cab, my name, the scratches." She nodded, showing a faded Okmulgee News clipping. 1994, fire on Turnpike, driver vanished. No name, just a photo of a charred Freightliner. Like the Channel 19 ghost or Arizona's rest stop shadows, it's tied to tragedy. Oklahoma's highways bleed with them, from 80s pileups to recent wrecks. Faye whispered, "He picks those who ran." I left, the CB hissing. Hank, again. The truth comes out, or does it? Driving on, the horror peaked. Mirrors showed the Freightliner behind, its headlights inside my cab now, illuminating a shadow figure in the bunk, faceless, smoldering. Was it the driver, or my guilt? That 2002 thud, had I caused a wreck? No record, but doubt festered. I-44's history fueled it. 94 blaze, 96 family crash, all near Stroud. My brakes softened, steering pulled toward the ditch. Lightning lit another cross. 1996, the family. Curse? Near Tulsa, a rest stop loomed, infamous for cold spots and whispers, per X posts from 2024. It wasn't just a ghost, it was my own sins burning back. The confrontation came at dawn, pulling into that stop. Nightmares hit, reliving 1994, fire consuming a cab, my rig speeding past. Waking drenched, the Freightliner idled outside, empty. "Why me?" I yelled. "The CB. You didn't stop." I drove to the 1994 cross, fog swirling. "I'm sorry." A cold hand grazed my neck, his. The air cleared, headlights fading. Either fight, flee, or fall. I chose to face it. Months later, under a harvest moon, I returned to mile 174. Oklahoma's ghosts linger. X-posts report the rig in 2025, before a crash near Sapulpa. At the cross, air chilled, diesel faint. "Why me?" a whisper. You ran. Visions, the fire, my 2002 swerve, linked, a cold touch, then gone. The twist, my CB played my 2002 voice, confessing a hit. Had I killed him? Timelines didn't align, but guilt bound me. Or was the rig looping me? I quit the turnpike the next morning. But last night my radio growled, "Hank," again. Am I next to crash? I never put stock in ghost stories. Not after 30 years of grinding gears across America's highways, dodging ice patches and drunk drivers. But that night on row 80 in Wyoming, with the CB crackling her voice, soft, desperate, begging for help, I felt my world tilt. She knew my name, knew my rig, and when I answered her call, there was nothing but static and an empty road staring back. My name's Cal Weaver, and I've been hauling freight from coast to coast since the Reagan era. This is my confession, because if I don't get it out, her voice will keep pulling me back to that cursed stretch of road. It was a bitter February night in 2024, hauling steel coils from Cheyenne to Salt Lake City. I-80 through Wyoming's high desert is a lonely beast, miles of snow-dusted sagebrush, wind howling like a banshee, and rest stops so far apart you feel the world's forgotten you. Channel 19, the trucker's lifeline, was quiet, just the occasional chatter about way stations or road conditions. I was near Rock Springs mile marker 100 when the CB sparked to life unprompted. "Cal, help me," a woman's voice whispered, clear as if she sat in my cab. No handle, no static, just her, soft and urgent, like she was drowning. "Accident up ahead. Please hurry." My blood ran cold. The road was pitch black, my headlights catching nothing but snowflakes dancing in the void. I grabbed the mic. "This is Iron Horse. Who's this?" "Where you at?" Silence, then static, then her again. Mile 104. I'm trapped. I floored it, heart pounding, scanning for taillights or skid marks. Nothing. Just the endless ribbon of asphalt and the wind's low moan. But that was only the beginning. I've driven I-80 1,000 times, know every curve and pothole from Nebraska to Nevada. It's got a reputation. Truckers at stops like the Little America and Green River swap tales of phantom convoys, ghostly hitchhikers, and voices on the CB. The Channel 19 mystery's been around since the 80s, mentioned in old trucking magazines and online forums like The Trucker's Report. Drivers claim a woman's voice, warns of black ice or breakdowns, sometimes saving lives, other times luring rigs to empty coordinates where wrecks happened decades ago. I always figured it was boredom or bad coffee talking, until her voice hit me. I reached mile 104, a desolate stretch flanked by rocky outcrops and skeletal Joshua trees. No wreck, no car, just a faded roadside cross half buried in snow, marking some long-forgotten crash. I slowed, high beam sweeping, and spotted tire tracks veering off into a ditch, old, iced over, not fresh. The CB crackled again. "You're too late, Cal." My hand shook. How'd she know my name? The cab's heater was blasting, but frost crept up the windshield, the air heavy with a faint perfume. Lavender, maybe, mixed with something sharp, like motor oil. I wish I had turned back right then. The road stayed empty as I pushed west, but her voice wouldn't quit. Every few miles, the CB hissed to life. "Cal, it hurts." "Don't leave me." Each plea tightened the knot in my gut. I tried switching channels, 9, 17, anything. But she followed, always on 19, her voice weaving through static like a needle through fabric. I radioed other drivers. "Breaker, Iron Horse here. Anyone hear a woman calling for help?" A few replied, voices tinny with distance. "Nothing but static, brother." One old-timer, handle road dog, cut in. "That's her." The Channel 19 ghost. Been warning drivers since I was a kid. Tied to a wreck in '83. Girl died out there, hit and run. I dug into my phone at a pullout, searching X and Reddit. Posts confirmed it. A Wyoming Standard article from 1983 detailed a young woman, Sarah Jane, killed on I-80 near Rock Springs when her car flipped after swerving to avoid a rig. Truckers since reported her voice, always on Channel 19, sometimes saving them from unseen hazards, sometimes leading to dead ends. A YouTube video, Haunted Highways, CB Ghost Stories. had a driver swearing she named him too before his brakes failed. The sound grew closer, and then I realized I wasn't alone. Strange things piled up as I neared Evanston. My dashboard lights flickered, the radio flipping to old country tunes, Hank Williams, eerie and out of place. The perfume smell thickened, and the cab grew colder, my breath fogging despite the heat. In the side mirror, a shadow flickered in the bunk, not solid, just a silhouette, long hair trailing like smoke. I spun, but nothing. The CB whispered again, "Look ahead, Cal." Save me. At mile 120, a deer bolted across the road, too close. I swerved, tires screaming, missing it by inches. Had she warned me, or caused it? I remembered posts on X about similar incidents. A trucker in 2022 hearing her voice before avoiding a pileup. Another in Nevada, 2019, led to an empty ravine where a cross marked a crash. Wyoming's We-80 is steeped in tragedy. Blizzard pileups in the 70s, hit and runs in the 80s, like Sarah's. The isolation hit hard now, no other rigs in sight, just the snow and the voice. I pulled into a rest stop, the lot empty save for a rusted sign swaying in the wind. Footsteps crunched outside, impossible in the fresh powder, but when I checked, no tracks. But the worst was yet to come. The voice grew desperate as I left the stop, the CB alive with her pleas. "Cal, I'm bleeding." "Don't let me die." My hands trembled. I shouted into the mic. "Where are you? Give me something." Static then. Under the bridge. Mile 130. I knew that spot. A low overpass where black ice forms, notorious for wrecks. I sped up, the rig shuddering, headlights catching the bridge's concrete looming ahead. No car, no wreck, just another cross, this one fresher, flowers frozen at its base. I stopped, boots sinking into snow, and searched the ditch. Nothing but shadows and the echo of her voice in my head. Back in the cab, the CB screamed. A woman's wail cut off mid-breath. I froze, staring at the mic as it vibrated slightly, untouched. Forums flashed in my mind. A driver in 2020 found an empty car after her call, door ajar, keys inside. Another swore she appeared in his cab, pointing to a hazard. Was she saving me or trapping me? The lavender scent choked the air now, and in the rear view her face flickered, pale, blood-streaked eyes pleading, then gone. I turned, but she was nowhere. Or was she? Shaken, I limped into a diner in Evanston, the neon-lit Sagebrush Cafe, where truckers swapped stories over greasy eggs. The waitress, an older woman named Dot, saw my face and poured coffee without asking. "You heard her, didn't you? Channel 19 lady?" I spilled everything. The voice, my name, the bridge. She nodded, unsurprised. Been happening since the 80s. Sarah Jane, killed by a semi that never stopped. Her voice warned some, haunts others. One fella crashed in 95 following her call. No body, just his rig in a ditch. She pointed to a faded article framed on the wall. Mystery death on I-80, 1983. Sarah's photo matched the face in my mirror. Long hair, young, maybe 25. Dot added, "Some say she's tied to other wrecks. Ghosts collect on this road." Like the vanishing convoy near Sydney, Nebraska, or the shadow figures at Arizona rest stops. I left, vowing to avoid Channel 19, but as I climbed into the cab, the CB hissed, "Cal," again. The truth comes out, or does it? Driving west, the horror escalated. Mirrors showed her silhouette in the bunk, flickering like a bad signal. The radio played her voice now, woven into static. "You didn't stop." My sanity frayed. Was it her or my own guilt? I'd swerved once, back in 2001, on a foggy Wyoming night, heard a thud, dismissed it as debris. No report filed, but doubt gnawed. I-80's history fueled it. 70s blizzards burying rigs, 80s hit and runs like Sarah's. Psychological terror mixed with physical. My brakes softened. Steering tugged toward the shoulder. Lightning lit a marker at mile 130. Her cross, dated February 1983. Curse? Near the Utah border, a rest stop loomed, infamous for cold spots and whispers, like Iowa 80s haunted halls. It wasn't just a voice. It was my own past screaming back. The confrontation hit at dawn, pulling into that stop. Exhausted, I bunked down, but nightmares replayed. A 1983 crash, her car flipping, my rig speeding past. Waking drenched, the CB screamed my name. Why didn't you stop? Facing the fear, I drove to mile 104's cross, snow swirling. I'm sorry, I whispered. Her voice softened. Help others. A cold touch grazed my hand, then silence. The cab warmed, perfume fading. Had I freed her, or myself? Either fight, flee, or fall. I chose to atone. Months later, under a full moon, I returned to mile 104. The cross weathered but standing. Wyoming's ghosts linger. Reddit posts confirm new sightings. Her voice on Channel 19 warning of ice in 2025. At the site, air chilled, lavender faint. Why me? I asked. A whisper. Because you listened. Visions hit. Her crash. Others' wrecks. Souls trapped. A handprint appeared on my window. Hers. I fled, but the twist struck. My CB replayed my 2001 voice, confessing a swerve. Had I hit her? No, timelines didn't match, but guilt bound me. Or was she weaving me into her loop? I quit Channel 19 the next morning, but last night, my home radio whispered, Cal, I-80. Am I next to answer her call? I never thought I'd be the kind to confess to something like this. But after that night on Route 52 in West Virginia, the memory of that black dog, its eyes glowing like coal embers, vanishing into the fog, claws at me. It was there 1 second, forcing me to yank the wheel, and gone the next, leaving me staring at a wreck I might have caused years ago. My name's Roy Tanner, a 27-year trucker hauling coal and timber through Appalachia's twisted roads, and this is my story. If I don't spill it now, that dog's shadow will drag me down for good. It was a damp October night in 2024, running a load of lumber from Bluefield to Charleston on Route 52, a snake of a highway carved into the Appalachian hills. The road's notorious, narrow, foggy, with switchbacks that drop into ravines if you're not sharp. I was used to it, but the air that night felt wrong, thick with mist and the smell of wet pine, and something sour, like decay. The CB was quiet, no chatter on Channel 19, just static humming like a warning. Around 1 a.m., near Welch, I rounded a bend and saw it, a massive black dog, bigger than any hound, standing dead center in my lane. Its fur was matted, eyes like twin flames, unblinking. I slammed the brakes, tires screeching, the rig fishtailing on wet asphalt. My heart pounded as I swerved, missing it by inches. When I looked back, the road was empty. No dog, no tracks, just fog curling like fingers. The CB crackled. You saw him, didn't ya? A voice, no handle, raspy and old. I grabbed the mic. Iron Ram here. Who's this? What did I see? Silence, then static, and a whisper. He's warning you, boy. But that was only the beginning. I've driven these mountains since I was 22. Know every coal town and haunted holler from here to Kentucky. Route 52's got a reputation. Truckers at diners like the Blue Moon in Matawan swap tales of the Black Dog of Appalachia, a spectral beast tied to death. Stories go back decades, drivers swerving to avoid it, only to find wreck sites or crash themselves. A 1980s article in the Charleston Gazette mentioned a pileup near Logan, where survivors swore a dog appeared first, vanishing into the night. Reddit's r/truckers and ex-posts echo it. Sightings from I-64 to US 119, always before accidents, like the 2019 crash that killed a family near Williamson. I shook off the encounter, blaming fatigue, but the fog thickened, headlights barely cutting through. My cab grew cold, frost creeping up the windows despite the heater blasting. The scent of decay lingered, and in the side mirror, I caught a flicker. Those ember eyes trailing me, low to the ground, pacing my rig. I wish I'd pulled over right then. The dog reappeared twice more as I climbed toward Coal Mountain, each time forcing a swerve. First, it darted across a bridge, tail like a wisp of smoke. Then it stood at a curve, staring as I barreled past. Each time it vanished, leaving my pulse racing. The CB kept sparking. He knows you, Roy. My name, how? I tried other channels, but the voice followed, now a chorus of whispers, some childlike, some old. Stay off the road. I radioed for company. Breaker, anyone near mile 30 on 52? A lone driver answered, clear here, Ram. You okay? I didn't mention the dog, truckers talk, and I didn't need the crazy label. But online stories flooded back. A 2022 YouTube video. Appalachian Highway Horrors showed dashcam footage from I-77. Black shape crossing, driver crashing, dog gone. Tied to old folklore, black dogs as omens. From England's Grim to West Virginia's snarly Yow, a beast haunting Harper's Ferry since the 1800s. Real accidents fueled it. Coal truck wrecks in the 70s, bodies lost in ravines. The sound grew closer. And then I realized I wasn't alone. Strange signs piled up past Eiger. My GPS glitched, looping the same hairpin turn, and the radio flipped to static-filled bluegrass, banjos whining like cries. The dog's eyes flashed in my mirrors, now inside the cab, reflected in the windshield. I shouted, "What do you want?" No answer, but the air grew heavy, like a storm brewing inside. At a pullout, I stopped, tires crunching gravel, and checked the trailer. Nothing but lumber, yet paw prints circled in the mud, too big for any natural beast. Forums mentioned this. A trucker in 2021 saw prints on US 119 before his brakes failed. Another felt fur brush his leg in an empty cab. Route 52's history is grim. Mine collapses in the 60s. Families wiped out in flash floods, their spirits tied to the land. The dog, some say, is a guardian, warning of death. Others, a curse, luring drivers to it. I floored it toward Gilbert, but the eyes followed, glowing brighter, closer. But the worst was yet to come. Isolation gripped me as the road twisted through McDowell County. No other rigs, no lights but my own. The CB wailed now, voices overlapping. Roy, you didn't stop. My gut twisted. I'd heard that before, hadn't I? A foggy night in 2003, a thud on this route, dismissed as a deer. No report filed, just a dented fender. Guilt stirred. Was the dog tied to that? I reached a bridge near Panther, infamous for a 1985 wreck. A coal truck flipped, driver and passenger gone, bodies never found. Lightning cracked, revealing a cross by the riverbank. Flowers wilted. The dog stood there motionless, then melted into fog. The CB screamed, "Look!" Up ahead, skid marks led to a fresh wreck, a pickup crumpled, no lights. I called 911, hands shaking, but when help arrived, the truck was gone, just the cross remaining. Had I seen the past, or caused it? I turned, but it was nowhere. Or was it? I limped into a diner in Welch, the Mountain View, neon flickering like a dying star. The cook, an old-timer named Bess, saw my face and poured coffee. "Black dog got you, huh?" I spilled it all. The eyes, the voice, the wreck. She nodded. Been around forever. Warned my pa before a 68 crash. Saved him. Others ain't so lucky. Tied to a girl killed here in 85. Run off by a rig. She showed me a faded clipping. Bluefield Daily Telegraph. Highway tragedy, teen lost. Her name was Clara, 17, hit and run. Truckers since heard her voice, saw the dog before crashes. Like the Mothman up in Point Pleasant, omens linger here. I left, vowing to detour, but the CB whispered, Route 52, again. The truth comes out, or does it? Driving north, horror peaked. Mirrors showed the dog in my bunk, eyes blazing, growling low. Was it Clara's spirit, or my own guilt? That 2003 thud, had I hit someone? No police record, but doubt festered. Route 52's ghosts are real. Ex-posts from 2023 detail dog sightings before a pileup near war. Psychological terror mixed with danger. My steering pulled, brakes softened. Lightning lit another cross. 1985. Clara's. Curse, near Charleston, a rest stop loomed, known for cold spots and howls. It wasn't just a dog. It was my own sins howling back. Confrontation came at dawn, pulling into that stop. Nightmares hit, reliving 1985, a girl's scream, my rig speeding past. Waking drenched, the dog sat outside, staring. "What are you?" I yelled, It vanished, but the CB rasped, "You know." Facing it, I drove to Clara's Cross, fog swirling. "I'm sorry," I choked. A growl softened to a sigh. Her voice, "Warn them." The air warmed, eyes fading. Either fight, flee, or fall. I chose to confess. Months later, under a harvest moon, I returned to the bridge. Folklore books confirm. Black dogs guard Appalachia's dead, tied to wrecks like Clara's. At the cross, air chilled, paw prints appeared. "Why me?" I whispered. A voice. "Because you ran." Visions. Her crash. My 2003 swerve. Connected. A cold nose brushed my hand, then gone. The twist. My CB replayed my 2003 voice. Just a deer. Had I killed her? Timelines didn't align, but guilt bound me. Or was the dog weaving my fate? I quit Route 52 the next morning. But last night, my home radio growled, "Roy, again." Am I next to swerve? I never thought I'd be confessing to something like this. My hands trembling as I try to make sense of that night on a I-90 in Montana. The image of his face, pale, grinning too wide, like his mouth could swallow the moon, burns in my mind, even now, months later. I'm Eddie Voss, a 30-year trucker who's hauled everything from cattle to car parts across the big sky. And I've seen plenty. Blizzards that bury rigs, coy eye that howl too human. But nothing compares to the smiling man, standing there in the fog, his eyes locked on mine before he vanished into the dark. If I don't get this out, that grin will haunt me forever. It was a freezing March night in 2025, hauling grain from Billings to Missoula on I-90. A lonely stretch where the plains stretch endless under a starless sky. The highway's desolate past Livingston, miles of scrub and rocky hills, with rest stops few and far between. The air was thick with fog from the Yellowstone River, my headlights barely cutting through, casting eerie halos on the asphalt. The CB on Channel 19 was dead, just static, crackling like dry bones. Around 2 a.m., near mile marker 400 by Columbus, I saw him, standing on the shoulder, a tall figure in an old-fashioned suit, like something from a 1940s photo, pinstriped and dusty. His face was pale, almost glowing, and his smile stretched ear to ear, unnatural, teeth gleaming like polished ivory. He didn't wave, didn't move, just stood, staring as my rig roared past. My heart skipped. I slammed the brakes, tires squealing, thinking he needed help. But when I looked back, the shoulder was empty, fog swirling where he'd been. The CB hissed, "He sees you, Eddie." No handle, just a voice, low and amused, like it knew me. But that was only the beginning. I've driven I-90 since I was 25, know its twists and tales. Truckers at the Sagebrush Inn in Livingston talk of ghosts, like the vanishing convoy near Bozeman, or the hitchhiker on Route 66 who disappears mid-ride. The smiling man's legend is newer, whispered in forums like Reddit's r/truckers and X posts since the 2000s. Drivers report a guy in an old suit, grinning on Montana's highways, always at night, always gone when you stop. Some tie him to a 1980s wreck near Laurel, a salesman killed in a hit and run, his body mangled but face frozen in a smile. I shook it off, blaming the fog and too many energy drinks. But the air grew colder, my cab's heater struggling, and a faint scent crept in. Old cologne, like my grandpa's aftershave, mixed with wet dirt. I glanced in the side mirror. His face flashed there, grinning in the bunk, then gone. My pulse raced. I keyed the mic. "Breaker, Iron Mule here. Anyone see a guy in a suit out there?" Static. Then a chuckle, no words. Just that laugh, like he was listening. I wish I'd pulled over right then. The sightings kept coming as I pushed toward Bozeman. At mile 410, he stood again. Same suit, same grin. This time closer to the road, head tilted like he was studying me. I swerved slightly, heart hammering. But when I checked the mirror, nothing. The fog thickened, swallowing my high beams, and the CB crackled. "Eddie, why run?" My name again. How? I switched channels, but his voice followed, now humming a tune, some old big band number, tinny and wrong. My dashboard flickered. GPS looping the same mile marker. Online stories flooded back. A 2018 post on the Trucker's Report about a driver seeing the smiling man near Butte, crashing after. A YouTube video, Montana's Haunted Highways, showing dash cam of a figure vanishing into fog on I-90. Tied to real crashes. 1987. A car flipped near Columbus. Driver's body found smiling, unexplainably. The highway's history is grim. Old mining towns like Anaconda, abandoned and cursed, their dead lingering. Was he one of them? The cologne scent grew stronger, and my breath fogged the glass, frost forming inside despite the heat. The sound grew closer, and then I realized I wasn't alone. Weirdness escalated past Big Timber. The radio flipped to static-filled jazz, notes twisting like screams. The man appeared again, this time walking along the shoulder, matching my speed. Impossible at 70 miles per hour. His grin widened, eyes black pits now, reflecting no light. I shouted, "What are you?" No answer, but the CB laughed, a chorus of voices, some mine. "He's waiting, Eddie." I pulled into a rest stop near Graycliff, tires crunching gravel, hoping to shake it. The lot was empty, save for a rusted sign creaking in the wind. Footsteps circled my rig, slow, deliberate, no prints in the snow. I locked the doors, flashlight trembling, and saw him in the fog, standing by Rita's the edge of the lot, grinning, then gone. Forums mentioned rest stops like Iowa 80, haunted by cold spots and shadows. Could he be one? I gunned the engine, peeling out, but his face flickered in my mirrors, closer, in the passenger seat. But the worst was yet to come. The isolation crushed me as I neared Livingston, the highway a ghost town, no other rigs in sight. The CB screamed, "Eddie, stop running!" My voice now pleading. The man stood at the next mile marker, grinning, suit flapping in the wind like a shroud. I floored it, but he reappeared ahead, each time closer, his smile splitting wider. Was it psychological, fatigue, or real? I-90's tragedies fed the fear. A 1995 pileup near Reed Point, bodies lost in snow. A 2001 hit and run, leaving a smiling corpse. The cab grew icy, cologne choking the air. Lightning lit a roadside cross. 1987, the salesman's crash. Per a Billings Gazette clip I'd read. Curse? His face flashed in the windshield, inches away, then vanished. I screamed, swerving, nearly jackknifing. I turned, but he was nowhere. Or was he? I staggered into the Sagebrush Inn at dawn, the neon flickering like a dying pulse. The bartender, an old woman named Ruth, saw my face and poured whiskey. Smiling man, huh? Seen him since the 90s. Warns of wrecks, or causes them. I told her everything. His grin, the CB, my name. She showed a faded article, 1987 Highway Death, Mystery Man. His suit matched, a salesman headed to Butte, hit by a rig, face locked in a grin. Like the black dog of Appalachia, he's an omen or a trap. Ruth said, some see him and live. Others don't. I left, the CB hissing, I-90, again. The truth comes out, or does it? Driving west, the horror peaked. Mirrors showed him in the bunk, smiling, eyes black. My sanity cracked. Was it guilt? A foggy night in 1998, a thud on I-90, dismissed as a deer. Had I hit him? No record, but doubt festered. The roads cursed, ghost towns, wrecks, spirits lingering. My brakes softened, steering pulled. Lightning lit his cross. 1987, name erased. Near Bozeman, a haunted rest stop. Per X posts whispered his name. It wasn't just a ghost. It was my own darkness grinning back. The confrontation came at dawn, stopping at that rest stop. Nightmares replayed. 1987, his car flipping, my rig passing. Waking sweat-soaked, he stood outside, smiling. Why me? I yelled. The CB, you left me. I drove to his cross, fog swirling. I'm sorry. A cold hand grazed mine, his. The air cleared, his grin fading. Either fight, flee, or fall. I chose to face it. Months later, under a blood moon, I returned to mile 400. Montana's ghosts linger. X-posts report smiling man sightings. In 2024, warning of ice. At the cross, air chilled, cologne faint. Why me? A whisper. You ran. Visions, his wreck, my 1998 swerve, linked, a cold touch, then gone. The twist, my CB played my 1998 voice, confessing a hit. Had I killed him? Timelines misaligned, but guilt bound me. Or was he looping me? I quit I-90 the next morning, but last night my radio whispered, Eddie, again. Am I next to smile? I never thought I'd be the type to confess to something like this, my hands shaking as I recall that night on Donner Pass in the winter of 2024. The sound of her sobbing, raw, desperate, echoing through the snow, still claws at my soul, like she was right there in the cab with me. I'm Jake Mercer, a 28-year trucker hauling freight from Reno to Sacramento, and I faced Sierra blizzards that'd make most turn tail. But that crying woman, her wails tied to the ghosts of the Donner Party, broke something in me. If I don't get this out, her voice will pull me back to that cursed pass forever. It was a brutal January night, running a load of produce west on I-80 through Donner Pass, a high stretch of the Sierra Nevada notorious for its history and weather. The pass, named for the Donner Party, those pioneers stranded in 1846, driven to starvation and cannibalism, is a grim legend. Snow fell heavy, wind howling through the pines, my headlights catching whiteout flurries at 7,000 feet. The CB on Channel 19 was silent, just static hissing like distant screams. Around 2 a.m., near Donner Lake at mile marker 180, I heard it, a woman sobbing, faint but piercing, coming from outside my rig. I slowed, tires crunching ice, thinking someone was stranded. Help, my children, her voice wailed, close yet muffled, like it seeped through the cab walls. I grabbed the mic. Breaker, Snowhawk here. Anyone out there? Got a lady crying near 180. Static answered, then a low voice. No handle. She's always there, Jake. Don't look my name. How? My skin prickled. The air turned icy, reeking of wet wool and decay, like an old grave. But that was only the beginning. I've driven Donner Pass for years, know its curves and its stories. Truckers at the Rainbow Lodge in Soda Springs swap tales of the crying woman, said to be a Donner Party ghost. Maybe Tamsin Donner, who died in the snow, or another mother mourning her lost kids. The tragedy's real. 87 pioneers trapped in 1846, only 47 survived, forced to eat the dead after blizzards buried their camp near Truckee Lake. Since the 80s, drivers report her sobs on night runs, especially in winter, often before wrecks or breakdowns. X-Posts and Reddit's r/truckers mention it. A 2019 driver heard crying before sliding on black ice. Another in 2022 saw a figure in a bonnet vanish near the pass. I pulled over at a turnout, snow piling around my Peterbilt, and scanned with my flashlight. Nothing but white, yet the sobbing grew louder, circling the rig like footsteps in the drifts. The CB crackled. Jake, leave her be. My heart raced. I locked the doors, heater blasting, but frost crept up the windshield, and that decay smell thickened, mixed with something sweet, like old lavender. I wish I'd kept driving right then. The crying followed as I pushed west, now inside the cab, her voice weaving through the static. My baby's gone. I switched CB channels. 9, 17, no dice. She stayed on 19, each sob a knife in my chest. My dashboard flickered, GPS looping Donner Lake, and the radio flipped to static-filled hymns, eerie and out of place. I glimpsed a shadow in the side mirror, a woman in a long dress, face hidden, standing in the snow behind my trailer. I spun, but the bunk was empty. Panic surged. I radioed again. Anyone near Donner Summit? Hearing a woman crying. A lone driver answered, Clear here, Hawk. That's the Donner ghost. Stay moving. Online stories flooded back. A 2021 YouTube video, Haunted Highways, Donner Pass, showed dashcam of a misty figure near the lake, tied to a 1980s wreck where a trucker swore he heard sobs before crashing. The pass's history is brutal. 1846's heavy snows, 22 feet deep, trapped the Donner Party, forcing cannibalism. Some say Tamsin Donner's spirit lingers, seeking her daughters, per a 2010 archaeological dig, finding no human bones, but confirming the camp's despair. The sound grew closer, and then I realized I wasn't alone. The phenomena escalated past Donner Summit. The sobbing turned to whispers. "Jake, help them." My name again, chilling me. The cab grew colder, breath fogging, and the lavender decay scent choked the air. In the mirror, her shadow flickered in the bunk, long hair trailing like smoke. I shouted, "Who are you?" No answer, but the CB wailed, a child's voice now. "Mama's cold." I pulled into a rest stop near Emigrant Gap, tires skidding, hoping to shake it. The lot was empty, snow bearing the signs. Footsteps crunched outside, no prints in the fresh powder. I swept my flashlight. A figure stood at the lot's edge, bonneted, head bowed, then dissolved into the storm. Forums like the Trucker's Report mentioned this. A 2023 driver saw her near Norden, felt hands on his wheel before a near miss with a snowplow. Donner Pass is cursed. Real tragedies like the 1847 rescue failures, where only 48 survived, fuel it. Was she Tamsin, or another lost soul? But the worst was yet to come. Isolation gripped me as I descended toward Colfax, the road a white tunnel, no other rigs in sight. The CB screamed, "Jake, don't leave us." My voice now, pleading, like I'd been there in 1846. Guilt stabbed. A foggy night in 2010, a swerve on I-80, a thud I blamed on a rock. Had I hit someone? No report, just a dented fender. The sobbing grew, multiple voices, kids, women, crying, "Stay." Lightning lit a roadside cross near Truckee, dated 1846, per a Donner Memorial plaque. The woman appeared again, walking beside my rig, matching 70 miles per hour, her face pale, eyes hollow. I swerved, nearly jackknifing, and she vanished, but the CB wailed, "You left us." My brakes softened, steering tugged toward a ditch. Was it her, or my mind? A 2020 X-Post reported a driver hearing cries before a tire blew near Rainbow Bridge. The scent overwhelmed now, and in the windshield, her face pressed, gaunt, tear-streaked, then gone. I turned, but she was nowhere. Or was she? I staggered into the Sierra Cafe in Truckee at dawn, neon flickering like a fading pulse. The cook, an old-timer named Sal, saw my face and poured coffee. "Crying woman, huh? Been haunting the pass since my grandpa's day." I spilled it all. Her voice, my name, the shadow. He nodded, showing a 1990s Sacramento Bee clipping, Donner Pass Hauntings, linking her to Tamsin Donner, who refused rescue to stay with her dying husband, George. "She picks those who run," Sal said, "like the Channel 19 ghost or Oklahoma's abandoned semi." I left, the CB hissing, "Jake, again." The truth comes out, or does it? Driving on, the horror peaked. Mirrors showed her in the bunk, bonneted, sobbing, eyes pleading. Was it Tamsin, or my guilt? That 2010 thud, had I caused harm? No record, but doubt festered. The pass's ghosts are real. 1846's despair, 1980's wrecks, her X posts from 2024. My steering pulled, brakes faltered. Lightning lit another cross. 1847, rescue party's failure. Curse? Near Auburn, a rest stop loomed, known for cold spots and wails, per a 2023 Reddit thread. It wasn't just a ghost, it was my own sins weeping back. The confrontation came at dawn, stopping at that rest stop. Nightmares hit, reliving 1846, snow burying a camp, her screams for her kids. Waking drenched, she stood outside, crying. "Why me?" I yelled. "The CB, you ran." I drove to the Donner Memorial, snow swirling. "I'm sorry," I choked. A cold hand grazed mine, hers. The air cleared, sobs fading. Either fight, flee, or fall. I chose to face it. Months later, under a full moon, I returned to Donner Lake. The pass's ghosts linger. X-posts report her cries in 2025, warning of ice. At the memorial, air chilled, lavender faint. "Why me?" A whisper. You heard. Visions. Her death. My 2010 swerve. Linked. A cold touch, then gone. The twist. My CB played my 2010 voice, confessing a hit. Had I hurt someone? Timelines didn't align, but guilt bound me. Or was she looping me? I quit Donner Pass the next morning. But last night, my radio wept. Jake, again. Am I next to join her?